Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski. With me is Greg Boysen and Mario Tirabassi. As always, we are presented by PointsBet. Use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Download that PointsBet app and get betting. Hawks lose 5-4 in overtime to the Vegas Golden Knights, blowing a 3-0 third period lead, truthfully. They were up 3-0 when the third began. Vegas comes back and ties it all with, 3 minutes and 16 seconds between all 3 goals?
3:16.
Just really turned on the Jets in the third period. Alex DeBrincat gave the Hawks a brief lead. Then that was taken away. Very brief. Yeah. And then the Hawks lose. Evgenii Dadonov in overtime. Fitting. The guy they tried to trade.
He shouldn't even be here.
He's not even supposed to be here today. Look at that. Look at the chemistry already. Going to Clerks a week into the podcast. But, yeah, a lot to get to in this one. 40 minutes of a pretty impressive display from the Hawks, and then the last 20.
Not as impressive.
Not great.
That the final 20 minutes, I will take the full heat for. I tweeted in the second intermission. I said, "Wow, Blackhawks are 20 minutes away from being 3-0-0 to start the rebuild, and they are 2-0-1 to start the rebuild." So my apologies for that. I now am officially a Twitter jinx. So
I think you have been for a while. It's just you're finally admitting it.
Yeah.
Now it's official.
Things have not been coming up.
Admission is the first step to recovery.
Things have not been coming up Mario recently.
I didn't. I think I'm the jinx for wearing my Austin 316 shirt, and then the Knights tie it in literally 316. So might be me.
What?
Might be Mario. Might be Jay. It could be maybe the Blackhawks just aren't a good hockey team. I think that has more to do with it.
Probably more
That's
likely.
Probably, yeah.
Kevin Lankinen a little itchy that last third period. That first goal went in, and all of a sudden it was like he was trying out for a swim team or something out there half that period.
Yeah, the first one was tough. Second one, not much you can do about a redirection way high in the slot. And then, I don't know, 2 of those I didn't love on Lankinen. And look, this is what it's going to be. We talked about Lankinen the other day. He's a really good backup, not a good starter. And this is going to be his chance, really, as the season wears out, to see if he's worthy of another contract. I think he's worthy of a backup contract, but we'll see. I mean, this was, again, through 40 minutes, playing really well, looking solid, looking strong in the net. And then as soon as the game started to get away from the Hawks, you saw Kevin Lankinen kind of lose it a little bit too. It looks like the moment got a little big for him. He looked a little shell-shocked. But DeBrincat, coming back, giving the Hawks another brief lead, like we said, it shows the resilience this team's been playing with since the deadline passed. And 2-0-1 on a West Coast trip, you've got to be happy with that. I know it's a very tough way to lose this game, a game that was well in hand, a game they had no business really losing. They end up losing, but hey, 2-0-1 on a West Coast trip, I will take 100% of the time. So it's overall a pretty positive result to the 3-game trip.
Yeah, you can argue that they had no business winning that game in Los Angeles.
True.
So hockey has a very weird way of evening things out in the end. So probably didn't deserve 2 points in Los Angeles. You got them. You definitely deserve 2 points in Vegas. Only got 1. So in the end, you're probably right where you should have been after these 3 games.
Yeah, and it's encouraging to see, following the trade deadline, the kind of effort that they put against teams that, Anaheim, even though they were selling at the deadline, they're not that far out of the playoff race, but they are out of the playoff race. Kings are in, and obviously the Golden Knights, this was an important game for them.
Huge game.
They had to come away with a win. There was no reason that they shouldn't have come away with a win against this Blackhawks team, and they do it in an impressive comeback fashion. First time that they've ever had in franchise history, as young as it is, first time the Golden Knights have ever gone into a third period down 3 goals and come away not only with a point but a win. So an impressive comeback for the Golden Knights. And yeah, I mean, the Blackhawks put together a pretty good first 40 minutes, but I think what we saw in the third period was just a team that had a different gear than Chicago did.
Yeah.
And I think that's been the case pretty much this entire season, that when the Blackhawks are playing against tougher teams, there's just stretches of the game. Sometimes it's early in the game, sometimes it's late in the game, where, just that opponent has a different gear that the Blackhawks just can't reach this year.
Well, and that's the talent gap that we talk about. When the Hawks were winning cups, they were able to roll 4 lines, and Vegas is a team who a lot of people had cup aspirations for. And, they're not totally healthy by any means, but that's the talent gap, is when they're able to take over a game for extended periods. And that's what, to me, was so impressive in the first. And the second was the Hawks were dictating the play many times. There were a lot of times where the Hawks had whole possessions in the Vegas Golden Knights zone, and the Knights couldn't get the puck away. And to me, we've seen that a few times since the trade deadline has passed. And like you mentioned, Mario, that to me is really important. And it kind of, and this will kind of be a recurring theme as we wrap up the season here, because what we're doing is looking for little indicators as to what the future might look like player-wise, what it might look like coaching-wise, etc. And to see this team overall competing as hard as they can is a really good sign for me when it comes to Derek King. I think that his message is getting through. I think the team plays hard for him. They had every excuse after the trade deadline to throw their hands up and say, all right,
just pack it in.
Let's just pack it in. Yeah. Let's go about 80% effort, and if we get a couple wins here or there, great. They haven't done that. They've competed hard, and yeah, they've been up against some more talented teams, but they've held their own, and even to get a point in this one, as ugly as the loss was and as painful as the loss was, it was a solid performance against a desperate team, and they come away with a point.
Yeah, West Coast road trips, they can be pretty brutal on team, especially right after a trade deadline. We've heard all the comments about, the mentality of some of the leaders in that locker room after the trade deadline. We've been over that, but they went out and tried to win 3 hockey games. And they got 5 out of 6 points. That's more than probably anybody expected.
Yeah,
heading this way. So they're playing hard, and it could be attributed to Derek King. He's obviously got these guys buying in, and we all mentioned watching this game like, oh my God, he's got the hat on behind the bench. He's even fashion plate Derek King. We said he could keep it on as long as they win, so I guess that was one and done for the Flogging Molly special that
for the lucky
King's
hat,
got on. He could wear it for the first 2 periods against Buffalo on Monday, but I think he has to take it off for the 3rd period, just in case.
I like it. I think it's a good look. I think it's something, it's unique. You don't see a lot of NHL coaches express
I'm
themselves.
surprised he was allowed to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess he said it was maybe part of my suit. Love your suit.
I thought it was great.
Got to complete the ensemble, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, good for hey, whatever you want to do it. Couple quick things. We'll talk about positives from this game. The Hawks had 3 players extend their point streaks to 5 straight games in Dylan Strome, Patrick Kane, Seth Jones. They've all now got points in 5 straight games. Strome has 3 goals and 7 points over that stretch. Kane, a pair of goals, 9 points. Jeez. And Seth Jones has a goal and 5 points over the last 5 games. So, these are guys heading into the year you expected stretches like this. We've talked about Dylan Strome a lot. Man, this kid has been so good the last 6 weeks plus, whatever it's been. It's still hard to imagine, why Jeremy Colleton thought he was the worst player in the NHL. I mean, and I don't.
Yeah,
and I don't.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how he treated him. Like you're terrible.
No, you're right.
You don't get to play. And it still scratches my head that we get reports out there. Scott Powers of the Athletic was one of them. That was like feels that Strome isn't coming back next year.
Well, he's arbitration eligible, so that's going to be fascinating to see.
Right. I mean, at this point, it'd be crazy not to bring him back unless you're going to trade those RFA rights and get something for him. Fine, but right now, this kid has done everything to earn another contract with this team. If he wants to be here, maybe he's...
Yeah, he could be looking for a change of scenery too. Why not?
I mean, if I'm a young hockey player, Why would I want to go and not play with Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane? Now, we don't know if Patrick Kane's going to be here next year.
Yeah.
If that's my options,
Yeah.
I can go anywhere else, or I could play with Patrick Kane and Alex DeBrincat.
And he's got his buddy Taylor Radish back.
Right. I mean, it's all about the Otters. We're going to get Connor McDavid.
We're just Connor
here.
McDavid and Anthony Cirelli away.
I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, look, if Strom's looking for an eventual big payday, the way he's going to get that is playing with Kane and DeBrincat.
Yeah, your
that's
stats
gonna
aren't going to get any better.
Right,
anywhere else.
Unless he believes that this back half of this season is enough to go out on the open market and say, hey, look, you guys got some skilled wingers, put me between those two guys, and maybe he tries and goes for either the big money or a team that's going to start contending sooner than 3, 4, 5 years with Chicago. I think it'll be. I mean, it's really interesting to see that. He's going into this summer. It looked like you said, Greg, about the report from Scott Powers that it may not be such a slam dunk that he comes back this offseason. It'll be interesting to see if Dylan believes that he can get more money and maybe a better opportunity to contend on the open market. It'll be fascinating for me to see, because he is arbitration eligible. If it gets to that point where the Blackhawks value him and where he values himself. So that's I think at the very least, Strome has proven that he is, much more than I think what Jeremy Colleton believed he would have been, and is definitely a legitimate, NHL player that can, have a positive impact on a team, whether it's in Chicago or elsewhere.
He's a top 6 forward in my book. Top 6 forward. He's got the skill, and when you put him with other top 6 forwards, you get the results.
Things can go well.
So there's the question: if he, because he has to be on the top 6, he does not. As we've seen, he doesn't really serve much of a purpose on the bottom 6. He's not a defender. He's not a checking line guy. So the question is, which contenders have a top 6 role for Dylan Strome? And that's what he has to figure out, right? Is there a team that is legitimately contending that can call me their second line center? I don't know. I always do the game. Where would he have played on the 2010, 2013, 2015 Blackhawks?
Right.
And he would have been the third line center.
He would have been on the third line.
So it's tough to.
But I mean,
I don't know. He might be best off here.
We've seen contending teams have some skill on their third line, and
absolutely,
and not necessarily have it be a specific role to be either defensive or checking or anything like that. So I mean, there could be different fits around the league, but you're right. It's fewer and far between that you see a contending team with a third line center be like their skill guy.
Pure offense,
Yeah.
right. Strome's line in this game: a goal, 2 penalty minutes, 2 shots, a hit, a giveaway, a takeaway, 2 block shots, and he won 9 of 16 faceoffs. He was the only Blackhawk over 50% from the faceoff dot. He won 56% in this game. So he just keeps playing solid. And it's like Patrick Kane said, when you put Dylan Strome with skilled players, he can produce. And here he is. He's been one of the most consistent Blackhawks over the last few months, and I'm just really glad to see him get a legit opportunity. I'm glad to see King just sticking with that line. It's working. Don't mess with things just for the sake of messing with it. By the way, speaking of that, later in the show, we're going to get to Derek King's comments pregame about how he's going to sort of juggle the Kubalik, Kurashev, Entwistle, et cetera, sort of things down the stretch here. I had some interesting comments we wanted to share with you pregame that you might have missed.
I think Derek King is a little bit of a lineup whisperer, because he takes Kurashev out, puts him back in, Kurashev scores. Takes Kubalik out, puts him back in, Kubalik scores. I think maybe just every game just rotate someone out, someone in, doesn't matter who it is,
right.
And then when they come back in, they'll score. I think that's the real trend here, right? That's something you can bank on.
We'll find out.
Well, he had a solid game too. Kubalik with obviously a goal. He was +2, 5 shots on goal, 3 more shot attempts, and 3 hits for Dominic Kubalik. He was engaged.
It's the most engaged I've seen him in a game in a very long time, especially in the weeks leading up to the trade deadline. It was almost like he was just fading into the background, and he played 10 minutes, he'd have 1 shot, be a -1, and it's just like, right. What purpose was he serving? And it could probably be a reason why he is still with the team, is that he disappeared so much down the stretch leading up to the deadline that no team was actually going to give up anything of value for him.
And that could be a part of the reason, that trade deadline and all those rumors. That's got to, guys will tell you, well, I don't pay attention to that stuff. That's a load of garbage.
Yep.
You can't escape it. This day and age, it's not 1974 where all you had to do was open up a newspaper to see these things. It's everywhere. So that could have something to do with it. And hey, he scored that goal early in the first period, and that could have just been like, okay, I remember how to do this. Let's have some fun. Let's play some hockey. Confidence and taking the pressure off goes a long way out on the ice. And good for him to score. He had a couple other chances in this game, and one more there in the end would have been nice, but. You like to see it. He seems like a good enough guy, and we've seen him do it before. It's got to be tough what he's gone through this season,
no doubt,
and most of last season too. Yes, I'm the guy that picked him to lead the team in goals before the season started, so it's not too late. He's gonna score. He's
got to catch fire.
He's gonna get like 9 hat tricks in the next 10 games, and I'm gonna look like a genius. But
25 behind DeBrincat.
The fact that you were able to make that bet and it not be an absurd bet at the time. It shows you, like, we've seen what he can do. This season is not a typical Dominik Kubalik season. He's having a bad year, and, we've got the entire summer to discuss it, and we will. But you've got to wonder, probably an affordable contract to bring back, and I don't know. That's
he's 26.
Yeah.
He's not old.
He's not old. He's not young, but he's not old. And like we discussed over the last few shows, you can't have an exclusively kids roster every year, even in the heart of a rebuild. And the other thing is, as a rebuilding team, bringing in a guy like the Hawks did this year with Fleury for just money, and then you flip him at the deadline. I look at what Detroit did with Nick Leddy, bring him in, flip him at the deadline. Mm-hmm. Those are the sort of things too you can see the Hawks doing as they are building as they work towards this rebuild. You can bring in some veteran assets on short-term, inexpensive deals, and then flip them at the deadline. So a lot to get to. We've got plenty of time to do that. But I think it's just something to keep an eye on. I don't know. I've seen too much good from Kubalik to completely throw in a towel on him. I don't know. He's
a guy that you could probably get cheap to come back.
Yeah.
And then if he catches fire and we see him when he was that 30-goal scorer, then that's a contract that becomes very valuable at a trade deadline.
His value's never been lower.
Right. And that's when you don't trade guys.
Right.
And it appears that Kyle Davidson kind of has figured that out. I mean, it's hard to trade a guy when there is no value. Not saying he didn't try to trade Kubalik, but he didn't think he was going to get enough value for him because there were a lot of reports out there that Anaheim was in on him, Edmonton was in on him, and nothing materialized. So Davidson, as I wrote over at allchgo.com this week, he seems like he has identified what he wants for each one of his guys. If he doesn't get it, he's fine sitting on it. And I'm okay with that too. So he decided to trade a guy like Brendan Hagel when his trade value was at an all-time high. It was never going to get any higher than
to the moon.
Was. So, we see how many times where, Stan Bowman screwed that up. He had Eric Gustafsson coming off a 60-point season. Trade value was never going to be higher, and he sat on him. And then he got, a third rounder the next year?
A third at that next year's trade.
Right, when if he traded him right after that season, he probably could have got a first. So, there's a key to being able to know when exactly to move a guy. And so far, yes, it's been less than a month as full-time GM. But so far, it seems that Davidson kind of has his finger on the pulse of, hey, I'm never going to get a better offer for this guy now, so I'm going to do it. Or, hey, I could probably wait this one out and maybe get more of a return down the road. And if not, then it is what it is.
And let's see if Kubalik can, create some chemistry with a new teammate in Taylor Radish and back on a line with Jonathan Toews, which is who he played with when he had his 30-goal rookie season. It was a different Jonathan Toews, but someone who's who he's familiar with. I think that's this part of the season. That's something that you can look at and see if some chemistry builds with that trio, and that can be something that we move into next season with. It could be something enough to bring Kubalik back. If Toews is part of the equation, then that's a trio that could work.
We are getting a little love in the live chat for Kubalik. Drive Secure says bring him back for one more year if he can find a net. Ryan's wondering why he doesn't get more power play time. Well, I mean,
he was not earning it for a large portion of this year.
I mean, goal scorers that can't score don't deserve power play time, but this is something now. If this goal today can maybe get him going, he should be. When he's hot, and he's a sniper. Get him on the power play, but he's got to earn it, as Mario said. And I think if there's one thing Derek King has proven since he's been here, it's you've got to earn your time with him. He doesn't just give it out because, hey, you once scored 30 goals, I'm putting you on the power play. He's a what have you done for me lately guy, and that's what you need for a rebuilding team.
Greg, you mentioned you're writing at allchgo.com. We've got a good offer for you, so listen up here. The best way to support CHGO is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you'll get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but that's not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. PointsBet is your home for live in-play betting, and it just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, Live College Basketball Same Game Parlay. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet, and now online sign-up is available in Illinois. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. What are you waiting for? Get on PointsBet now. Live your bet life with PointsBet. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
We have a live final score in the NCAA tournament. Denver tops Minnesota Duluth 2-1. So that will eliminate Blackhawks prospects Wyatt Kaiser and Connor Kelly from the NCAA tournament. So just a quick little update there as I was keeping tabs on that. Notre Dame and Minnesota State, they are underway. Notre Dame has Ryder Rolston and Landon Slagert. So those are the final 2 Blackhawks prospects that are alive in the NCAA tournament. Greg, you brought up a good point about Derek King and earning ice time. I think that's something that we wanted to mention and talk about. So if we have Derek King's sound from before the game, I think we want to get to that and talk about what he had to say.
Pretty much the same. Kubi will come back in, and Khrushchev will come out. But and I talked to those guys, and I talked to him and Borgstrom about just sometimes it's just a little rotation now because finishing off the season here, we only have so many games. I'd like to try to get guys in and let them show, prove that they've earned a spot, and they finish strong. So it's kind of Khrushchev, not based on how he plays, and it's just more just a rotation. Lankinen will play net. Vlasic will take warm-up and probably not play yet. So, but he'll get his games in. Take our time with him.
So the rotation is all 3 or just Khrushchev?
No, I'd be like Khrushchev, Borgstrom, guys like that, and like NC, and just I'll figure out a little schedule for these guys and get them their games, their reps, and it'll be good.
Will Cooley go back on that side of the line?
He's on with. I'll put him on with Toews and who do I got on that side there? Radish. Yeah.
So what do you just expect out of him, the response?
Just to work, keep working how he is, but work a little smarter, be a little patient, and when he has the puck, shoot it. So I have no worries about him. Like I said, this was just more or less just a reset hit the reset button and clear the mind a little bit and come back fresh.
Did the priorities change?
Yeah, I like the approach there, especially the way he's talking so openly about it, because I think it's easy for a young player like Khrushchev to be scratched and think, well, I'm doing my best. I know I'm not I'm not Patrick Kane, I'm not Alex DeBrincat, but I'm out there working. And for the coach to say, look, it's not performance-based. We just have a lot of bodies we want to get in. We don't want anyone just sitting there for a long time not playing. So I get it. I like that he's being open about it. I agree with it because, look, you got to figure out what you've got here. And Borgstrom, even Kubalik, as we've been discussing, all these kind of fringe NHL players that they have on the roster, the Hawks have to find out who's got what, who's going to compete now, who's going to pack it in, and the best way to do that is to play all of them and evaluate from there. So I'm down with that plan. I think it makes a lot of sense. And, again, I think the fact that King is so communicative, and this is what we heard about Jeremy Colliton. He's just a master communicator, but no one seemed to know what the hell was going on at any time on the roster. This is different. This is a guy saying, hey, you're not being punished. We're just trying to get other guys in. Keep working hard. Keep doing what you're doing. Here's a few things you can improve on, which I'm sure Kurashev already knows, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the next game.
And he's taken that approach not only with, guys who are more more seasoned in the NHL, like Borgstrom, Kurashev, and Kubalik, but he's also doing it with the young players coming up. I mean, Alex Vlasic had he got his first 2 NHL games when he first joined the team, and he's been scratched ever since. And, I was talking about it, in the last game where, Gustafsson was in the lineup and Vlasic was scratched. And I'm just thinking, like, why he's there to get his first, taste of the NHL, his first NHL ice time. You don't have to showcase Gustafsson anymore. He's not going to be traded. You're at a point where wins and losses don't really matter. You're looking to try and get some of these young guys some NHL ice time. Why not have Alex Vlasic in the lineup? But with King, it looks like it's more of a trying to earn it mentality, which I can appreciate. With a young guy coming into a team that's not contending, you don't want to just hand him ice time and say, here, you're unearned. You're just going to keep playing. I think, having a little bit of that mentality where, like, yeah, you're going to get your playing time, but you have to show me that you want to work for it. I'm fine with that. I would like to see a little bit more of Alex Vlasic and a little bit less of Erik Gustafsson at this point.
If you're not going to play Alex Vlasic, send him down to the Ice Hogs and let him play. Let him get some pro ice time. The Ice Hogs definitely can use a guy. They're fighting for their playoff lives down there. I think it would be much more beneficial for Vlasic to play 18, 19 minutes a night in the AHL 2-3 nights a week than eating popcorn in the press box in Las Vegas. Poor Vlasic. He's not even old enough to enjoy Vegas. Doesn't get to play.
Poor guy.
Hey, we're gonna go down to a casino, play Mario Kart in a room, kid, and then he doesn't even get to play. What a rough start. But I'll switch places with him.
It sounded like King sort of was alluding to the fact that what they saw from Vlasic early was maybe the game was moving a little too quickly for him, and they want to get him up to speed. But taking warm-ups and practicing with the team isn't going to get you ready for NHL game speed. I agree with you, Greg. If he's not going to play, I'd rather him play.
Yeah.
But if he's not going to play, you've got to send him to Rockford and get him some ice time and get him some pro hockey minutes because
get acclimated to the system. They play the same exact system down there. He could play with guys that he might be playing with in the near future. There's nothing wrong getting some chemistry with a Wyatt Kalynuk or an Isaac Phillips or Nicholas Bodine. Your future Blackhawk defense is down in Rockford right now, so get him down there. Otherwise, play him here, and I can't.
I never need to see.
Gustafsson
I never
anymore.
need to see him again. No, honestly, and
I didn't need to see him again before this season. And there's just zero reason to play the guy.
Yeah.
Zero.
I'm not trying to be hot takey. I don't think it is a hot take by any means, but like, seems like a good dude. I just at this point in the Blackhawks organizational stage, there's no point for him to be on the ice. He is not contributing offensively, which was the main reason you had him in the first place. Was all right, he'll come on
those power play points. That was the whole reason. To bring him in,
and they're just not there. Obviously, he's not a great defender. Put a kid out there. I don't know what you do. I'm assuming when Connor Murphy comes back, he'll be gone, or at least out. But
send Harry Kane's doppelganger to the press box.
yeah, I'm good. I don't know.
Yeah.
All the best to Erik Gustafsson. Thanks for your service. All those great things. Once a Blackhawk, always a Blackhawk, whatever. Well, being on this Blackhawks team is, well, we won't go that far, but you know what I mean. It's, I just don't understand what it accomplishes.
It was a retread signing, again by Stan Bowman, that again didn't work out.
Yeah, the day 2 hours after Stan Bowman stepped down, Erik Gustafsson should have been handed his release papers.
Right. There's like you said, Jay. When Connor Murphy comes back, I assume Gustafsson will be the one to rotate out. And we, happy birthday, Connor Murphy. Hope you're doing well. But we talked about it before. Before when we were watching the game about what do they do with Caleb Jones, and I think he's someone that down this final stretch of the season, he's got an opportunity to really solidify his case to come back in the off season. He's on an expiring contract, and he's been fine. He's been a fine as a number 6, number 7 defenseman. I think that's the role he's going to play. We were talking about it. Maybe that's just the ceiling he has in his career, and that's fine to have. And I think if you're going to bring him back, allowing him to get minutes down the stretch here is what you're going to see. And I think that'll be just another reason to rotate Gustafsson out and start to rotate in some of the younger players.
Caleb Jones played 22:49 in this game.
Yeah, he was out there a lot.
Yeah,
he was out there a lot.
We were discussing it, at lunch. He's just, I don't know, he hasn't really been great. He hasn't been bad. He's just kind of been a guy. But if that's your 6th or 7th defenseman, you could do a hell of a lot worse than that. That's not what he is right now for the Blackhawks, but I think that's where he projects in his NHL career. And look, if it's going to keep Seth happy to have him here, you might as well. I don't know. I'm not ready to just say, okay, well, see ya. I think there is room for growth. I don't know how much growth. I don't know. He's never going to be a star by any means, but so far this year he's been more solid than anything else for his role, and I'm definitely open to giving him another look.
Yeah, if he's your 6th defenseman, you're okay. Like, and he's had to play an elevated role these last couple of weeks with the injuries and all that stuff, and he's done fine. Like, not, oh my God, we got a Norris Trophy winner, but he's come up with some big shot blocks.
Yes, absolutely.
He's very good at getting his stick in the passing and shooting lanes. If he's your 6th defenseman going in the next season, then you've got a legit NHL defense. Mm-hmm. If he's going to be your second pairing defenseman, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's not good.
Again, putting in the guy in his right role, you'll be fine. So I wouldn't say I would expect Caleb Jones to be back, but I'd be more surprised if he's not here than if he is for next season. And he's played really. He's another one that kind of, once he got that for sure was going to play every night role, he improved. Mm-hmm. His confidence got better. And, for a lot of the season, he dealt with a couple of injuries that kept him out. And then he was that guy that was, he's in a game, he's out of game, he's in a game, he's out of game. Especially for young players, it's so hard to get into a groove. Now that he's played these last, whatever weeks it's been, that he's been on the ice every game, he knows he's playing every game. He knows his role is more defined. He's played better. So, again, it's like we've said, once you get a guy his role defined, it's up to them to embrace it. And we've seen guys embrace those roles.
I think for defensemen especially, being in the lineup regularly makes a big difference. Knowing you're not going to be in and out, press box ice, knowing you're in every game lets you find a rhythm, lets you get a chemistry with a partner. It's beneficial, but I think especially for defensemen that matters because you've got to know where your partner is at all times. You've got to get a sense of that chemistry, and I think he's earned the chance to play the remainder of the games this season. I don't think there's any question about it. And, I've been pleased with his performance this year. I think I'm trying to think of any, oh, my God, that was horrible moments from him. And I can't really, top of my head.
No, I don't think he's had too many standout terrible moments. He hasn't had too many standout great moments. I think he's, like we've all said, I think he's just a very fine third pair defenseman. And, he's out there. He probably won't win you a game, but hopefully won't cost you a game. I think that's really all you can look for out of a player that's going to play in that kind of role.
We have someone asking about Mario's food experience. we have another story.
My last food experience or my current food
Well,
experience?
Which specific
They
of
ask
the
you if
many?
you're still looking for your delivery.
Oh,
but there's
yeah.
another. We'll get to that after our
Yeah.
fourth star of the game. There is
Yeah.
another.
We-
The Mario experience has been quite the ride this week.
We have Justin too asking if we ever had that pizza party.
Oh, the pizza party.
Pizza party?
We did have some pizza this
when
afternoon. We
he never got his food.
Let's get to our fourth stars of the
Yep.
game, and then we'll update all the food news from around
Yes.
the
We did get that
CHGO
pizza
Blackhawks podcast world. I'm going to go with Dominik Kubalik. We talked about him a lot to start the game. Solid return to the lineup with a goal and several more scoring chances. Really sort of was noticeable for the first time in a while for me. So I'm going to give it to him. I think he had a solid game.
Greg?
I'm going to go with the most valuable player on this Hawks team this season, Alex DeBrincat. Scored a goal for the third straight game, had an assist, was a +2 on the day, 6 shots on goal. One thing I've been liking of his game a lot, we know he can shoot the puck, we know he can score, but he's made some incredible passes these last couple of games. His assist on the first goal of the second period, the Toews goal, was a great play, a little slap pass. And he also had a couple of hits, so we know that he's feisty. He's out there. He's not a guy you'll ever have to question his effort. He cares every time he's on the ice. So I'm going with the Cat. 37 goals on the season now.
It's pretty good.
Last time I checked, that is pretty good.
I'm going to go with Jonathan Toews. He's kind of hasn't been the most favorable Blackhawk on this podcast for the last couple of days, but he had a pretty solid game tonight. Scored the tap-in goal off the DeBrincat assist in this one. Also had an assist of his own. 5 shots on net, 2 hits in game 998 of his career. I think it was it was a good game from him. I think what we're seeing as he's gotten to the back half of this season is, I think he's got his legs underneath him as best as he probably can physically right now. The first half of the year, it took him 25, 26 games to get his first goal of the season.
Yeah.
Now he's got 9 on the year after his goal today. All of them coming in the last 30 games. He's had 19 points in the last 30 games, which is pretty positive. He had a good game tonight. Hopefully that can continue through the rest of the season, and hopefully he can lead the team through the rest of the year, both on and off the ice, in the best way that he knows how.
All right, so we need to reach a consensus here. I will go with you on this one, Mario, because it has been a tough week for Toews. It's been a tough season for Toews, and I feel like he needs a hug from us. So I'm going to give him the virtual hug, and I will go with you for the 4-star Jonathan Toews.
All right, I'm hopping on that ride.
There we go.
As Joey says, yes. All right, we don't want to be known as the anti-Jonathan Toews.
We're not kicking him.
podcast. We still love our captain.
Of course. Not kicking him
and
out.
everything he's done. So this was a nice response. It's been a rough week. We've heard the clips. They were showing him on ABC. He gave us the hot takes for the week, but then he came out and had a nice game. So that's all you want to see. Good response. So we'll make it official.
So congratulations, Jonathan. You will get your free CHGO Blackhawks T-shirt in the mail.
And an in-studio invite to come chat with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Open invite. Come on down. We're not far.
We got plenty of schmediums in stock. We'll get one over to the captain.
We got a lot of those. I will not be taking any of those, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Mario, you wrote this week about the Blackhawks leadership beyond Jonathan Toews at allchgo.com. You should jump on that membership if you haven't already, listeners. You got access to all the great writing that our entire CHGO sports team does. You become a member, you get a free T-shirt. The merch from the CHGO locker is, I say sweet. The kids say dope.
No, Luke says dope.
Stuckmeyer says dope.
My daughter says
dope. He's not a
fire.
kid.
She said, those are fire to me last night 3 times trying to buy her baseball cleats. Good luck finding those, by the way, around the world.
Baseball cleats?
Oh, my God. Ridiculous.
Well, I'm sure you can find plenty of baseball cleats. It's hard finding fire baseball cleats.
That's a good
Yeah,
point. That's a good
true.
point.
They got to be fire.
You'll also get access to the members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge. So go to allchgo.com, sign up for the membership there. Remember, if you make a $50 deposit to PointsBet when you sign up using code CHGO, you get all that stuff for free. So jump on that and join us. All right, we've got some updates to Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, my God.
So I found the big door,
Yes.
which was somehow I missed it. I parked across the street from it every day I've been at CHGO so far and never saw it. It is the door. It's not a functional door. It is a decorative door for Big Monster Toys, which is a toy company located right on Racine there. And how I missed this door, I'll never understand.
I've walked past it at least a dozen times going to this
Every
office,
single
and I've
time been
never
here.
noticed
Never
it
noticed
until
I thought it was a garage.
I
That's
did.
why I
I
guess
did
I didn't
too.
pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at the door, there's a big glass, there's
Window.
windows on the
Yeah.
top, and there's a giant plush monster looking out the window. It's very cool, and I saw a bunch of people taking selfies out there today. How we missed it, no idea. If you don't know the story,
Were they taking the selfies because of our story?
I think so.
Maybe, yeah.
That had to be it.
This is where Mario's cheeseburger. Should
Yeah.
be.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but your food was not there.
We were talking
No,
to,
it was gone. Yeah.
we were talking to Luke about it, and he was like, "I know that door," and thought it was like weird that we didn't.
It is weird that we
am
didn't.
It
in
is,
with
yeah.
you guys that I have never seen it.
When I walk in, I am just focused on Blackhawks hockey.
That's it.
I got the blinders on.
as
Maybe
you
Luke
should
needs
be.
more focus.
Yeah,
Luke.
Well,
Yeah.
what's wild
Dope
is not
merch.
only is it right there on Racine, it's literally around the corner
Yes.
from the alley in which you walk down to get to our office. So
Right.
so I will apologize to the driver. You were not far away, but that also wasn't where my food
Yeah.
was supposed
Right.
to go.
Well, so let's recap. We'll give the short version of the story before we get to today's story. Mario, there's the picture.
There's the picture. You can see the monster in there,
it still cracks me
all
up.
lit up there. Yeah. So
That's where Mario's food was supposed to be left by his food delivery service, and it was not.
There is no food in this picture.
No.
but just a comically large door with a with a monster in the window.
All right, so then today we had lunch at Rinaldi's before the game and during the game, and Mario texted us, "I'm running late. I have to get new pants." Now, I will let you fill in the blanks
I
there
know
on
what
that
I
one.
thought.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, you're a little young for that to be happening, but whatever. No shame.
So we were meeting for lunch, and I live outside the city, and so I have to commute in, and I stopped at a coffee and donuts place that's pretty prominent. Don't want to name it, but their donuts are called Munchkins. And side note,
What donuts
got my
are?
order wrong, but that's not the problem here.
Again.
So I went to transfer the coffee in their cup to this travel cup here because it was an iced coffee, so it'll stay colder longer. And so I'm in the parking lot transferring the iced coffee to the travel mug, and of course too much ice gets into the mug, so I'm like, okay, I still have half my coffee in the cup. I want all the coffee to be in the mug, right? So I put the coffee with on top of the hood of my car, and I have the lid from the coffee scooping out some of the ice. Well, today is windy. Big gust of wind blows the coffee off the hood of my car all over my pants. And this isn't like, oh, shoot, I spilled a little bit. This was, these pants are no longer serviceable to me. And I'm too far away from home to double back and change pants. So I just have to soldier on through and meet you guys for lunch. But I'm like, it is cold coffee. It is a cold day. I cannot go into public with these pants because they're soaked and stained. So luckily, I was close enough to a mall that I thought, okay, I'll just go in. I'll get a pair of pants. It's an emergency, whatever. So I go into the mall and I go to a store that I know is going to be reliable to find pants. The pair of pants that I was wearing was from this store. I don't want to name the store, but if you rearrange the letters, it spells PAG. And so I go to this store, and when I was a kid, this store was a nice mixture of affordable and stylish. And somewhere in the time that I've grown up from being a kid to being a 32-year-old adult, their pants became $80.
Yeah.
When did that happen? So
inflation.
I have to walk through the mall with coffee-stained pants, which I'm sure people gave me a side eye and was like, what the hell happened to that guy? And I have to walk in, take a pair of pants, look at the tag, and put it back on the shelf and walk back out because I'm not spending $80 on an emergency pair of pants.
I'm not that desperate. These pants aren't that wet.
Luckily,
It's a very expensive cup of coffee.
yes, and so at this point I'm like, I'm going to be late. These guys are expecting me to get to Rinaldi's at 1 o'clock. I'm like, there's no way I'm getting to 1 o'clock. So I text you guys. I said, hey, I'm running behind. I have to buy new pants. So luckily, maybe a half mile away, there's another clothing store, which again, I don't want to name, but it is the first name of Eminem's actual real name. And I get there, I'm like, I know I can find just an emergency pair of pants. So I get there, and again, stained, wet pants. I walk in, I'm like, I have to swallow my pride and get these pants. So I finally find a pair. I go back, try them on. They fit. They're fine. And I walk out to the fitting room attendant, and I say, is it okay if I just wear these pants out the door because I had a situation with my current pair of pants? And she looks at me and she goes, yeah, I saw. That's fine. And so I go out to the to check out, and I'm like, hey, can I wear these out? She said it was fine. He's like, yeah, it's fine. So I have to turn my butt to the scanner, and he has to scan the tag, and yeah. So I found a pair of pants, saved the day. So very appreciative of the of the employees there for allowing me to walk out with those pants.
It's a good thing it was you, because Jay and I looking for emergency pants
That's tough.
I'd still be at the mall.
The 3628s are hard to come by.
Yeah,
I
so
have the exact opposite. I guess the world doesn't exist that 6'2" fat guys roam the world. Like every fat guy is supposed to be like 5'7" or shorter.
Well, I'm there.
Yeah,
That's me.
So it's
I'm the
length.
poster child for fatness.
So yeah,
so
thankfully, you
thankfully
fit in
I
normal
was
pants.
I was able to find a pair of pants, and
Bill just thinks you should leave hockey pants in your car.
what's
That's
that?
it. Just wear hockey pants.
Bill thinks you should just leave hockey pants in your car. You could put them over your real pants, and it'll
I
splash
guess
right
I
off.
could. I mean, my hockey pants have been sitting in my bag for over a year.
Yeah, I'd appreciate
so
you do not
they're
wear
not
those
going
to
to
the
smell.
studio.
They're not going
No,
to be
you're gonna
smelling
be-
any.
You're going to be in Studio B by yourself.
Yeah,
We'll
they're
be
not
out
going to
here.
smell good at all.
Yeah,
so
good point. Good point.
So yeah, these are the emergency.
Well, I was
pants.
worried.
You did well. They
I
look
was
good.
worried when you got to the restaurant and you told us about this. I was like, we're not getting the pizza we ordered. I
Nice.
was worried, but yeah, very good.
So dry.
All right.
Such dry pants.
Well, and the thing is, these are like off the rack, brand new pants. So there is no flexibility in them. So sitting like this is not.
You know what I hear
not,
makes pants a
not
little more
helping me.
flexible? Iced coffee on the crotch. That'll make them a lot more flexible.
Well, I'm gonna have to get home and see if I can save those pants because those were
Well, I saw
expensive pag pants.
I saw
so.
Mrs. Tirabassi in the chat room, so she's
Yeah.
aware of what's
Oh,
happening.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
there she is, right there. She's
Excellent.
Fire pants. There you go.
Show those off. Bring them home. Do the whole thing.
you might have just got us kicked off of YouTube with your modeling job. It might be
It's
too
been
hot,
flagged.
too hot for TV.
Apologies.
Well, it's got to be a better week for you next week.
Can't be
Mario.
worse.
It's got to be. You got shorted with your fries from Nando's. You've got your delivery snafu. You've got the wet pants. Next week will be better. By the way, Monday through Friday this coming week. So we'll be here every freaking weekday. So keep your eyes out for that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, I guess we should get back to hockey.
Yeah, we can. Listen,
suppose.
I'm really going to try and be on top of my game so I don't have to come onto the show and expound on my
Good
first world
news is
problems.
Tuesday's show is a remote show. We're all going to be coming live from our homes. None of us have to wear pants at all.
That's
I
true.
will not be. I will not be.
No pants
That is true.
Tuesday.
No pants Tuesday. So look out for that.
That's a guarantee.
Yes.
That's something we could, pitch to Jake and Kevin and see if we can get that as.
Oh, I'm sure they'll jump right over it.
Knowing the rest of this group, I think that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah. No one wants that. If I was wearing no pants, my wife would jump into the chat and say, for the love of God, put the pants back on, please. No one wants to see that, myself included. So, anyway,
So
Where
yeah,
were we?
Hawks lose 5-4 in overtime to the Vegas
Let's get
Golden
back
Knights.
to another Blackhawks loss. 'Cause
I
that's
just want to
far
laugh.
more
I just want to
entertaining.
laugh at the Knights again for Evgenii Dadonov being really good since the return to sender situation happened with him. He had a week like Mario too, where things did not go so well for him. But it's just so fitting that he comes back for Vegas and is just putting on a show
Just
for
on
them.
fire.
And wins the game for them in overtime, in a game they absolutely needed. I saw before the game their playoff chances were about 48, 47%. So it's
teetering.
a huge win for them. And to see him deliver, you got to feel good for him. There's got to be a little bit of Dadonov thinking like, yeah, that's right. This is what you try to get rid of, baby.
No chip on that shoulder.
You can't
at
run
all.
from me.
Yeah.
I'm here, and I'm here to save you from your horrible, horrible play so far this season.
I hope he blew a kiss to Kelly McCrimmon in the press box after he scored that overtime goal.
Yeah,
Like,
just
right
a
here,
little-
Just a
pal.
big old "you're
Right,
welcome."
just point right to his crotch. Right here, buddy.
Give him the old DX. Yeah.
Yeah, that was some poetic justice, I guess. But man, I would be a very happy hockey fan if Vegas missed the playoffs. I just think that would be hilarious. Just the way everything has been, and they got to get every free agent. They're going to make every trade. Somehow the salary cap doesn't exist in the state of Nevada, apparently. No state income tax and no NHL salary cap in Nevada. For them to just not make the playoffs would be, I'm sorry, it'd be delicious. I would love it. I'm not sorry, but
I don't have the hatred for Vegas. That
I'm
you
just,
do.
I don't hate them. I'm over it. I'm annoyed
Over
with
it
them.
already.
Like, okay, congratulations. You've got a very expensive hockey team of guys that are all going to be on the wrong side of 30. Enjoy salary cap hell. You've traded away all your top prospects to get these guys. You don't have a whole lot of draft picks. Enjoy empty arenas and really bad hockey for the next few years if you don't win. That's why they needed to win a cup in these last couple of years, and maybe they still do. They got a lot of talent that's hurt. You know, Mark Stone's not playing. Pacioretty's not playing. Leonard's not playing. They get all those guys back in time for the playoffs. They're still going to be a very dangerous team. But you know what? I enjoy watching them lose.
Yeah, they're absolutely coming to the end of their window to really hit the ground running as an expansive franchise and win a cup. It's going to come crashing down very quickly if they do not.
Yeah.
If they don't get the cup, and
It's going to get very ugly very soon there.
yeah, and we might not see a situation like Vegas if the NHL GM's meeting and the rules that are being discussed at those meetings come to fruition, where they were, on the table is maybe a salary cap that extends into the playoffs, and Vegas would be a team that would absolutely not be able to be constructed the way they are if that were to be the case.
And it would have hurt Tampa in the past too.
Yeah, they would not have. They have not have won the last two Stanley Cups. The Blackhawks would not have won the Stanley Cup in 2015, probably, because there was that Patrick Kane broken clavicle that allowed them to go out and get a guy like Anton Vermette. They were over the cap until he came back. So it's definitely a debate. We talked about this at lunch too, and I was like, man, we just recorded our August 13th episode of the Blackhawks podcast.
I mean, I would absolutely hate a salary cap into the postseason,
Yeah.
just because it's just like, can we just play hockey
Yeah.
in April and May and June? Like, I don't want to have to think about, how many, who can fit under the cap, who's going to be available. Like, I don't want to think about that
If
once
you were able to
it's playoff time.
circumvent the
Just
rules,
play.
if you were able to be without a guy for months on a season and you were still good enough to get a good seed in the playoffs, then fine, go for it.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of salary cap discussion we can have in the offseason. I, for one, am ready to get rid of the whole thing, bring in a luxury tax, let these teams spend. The salary cap essentially punishes you for being good at drafting and developing players.
And half of the season, the salary cap is not real.
no.
It's not real money. It doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
teams find ways to get around it.
So
Whatever
if,
it needs
if,
to.
if,
Whatever
if
it
everybody's
is.
finding loopholes to get around it anyway, then what the hell are we doing?
Yeah,
Right,
Get rid of it.
exactly.
The point
Get rid of it.
defeats the purpose. If
There's always going to be a loophole. Okay,
Right.
change the rules again. A smart GM with a great lawyer will find a way to a loophole, and everybody will exploit it.
it's Brent Seabrook, Tampa Bay Lightning, Marian Hossa, Arizona Coyotes,
Pavel
Pavel
Datsyuk.
Datsyuk, Arizona
just-
Coyotes.
that whole thing of
Yeah.
just letting contracts go somewhere to die
Chris
while the
Pronger,
player doesn't
Arizona
play.
Coyotes.
Not going somewhere to die. Go to Arizona.
Go to Arizona to
die.
die. Good point. Yeah, it's broken. It's a broken system that absolutely needs some addressing. and some
Arizona
fixing.
leads the NHL history for the most Hall of Famers on their franchise that never actually played a game for their franchise.
Didn't Dave Bolin, wasn't
Dave
he a
Bolin,
Coyote?
another Coyote.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
The Predators would put a banner up for that. most Hall of Famers that never played
most
for
dead
us.
money
Yeah.
acquired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, it's-
No offense to our PHNX friends down there in Phoenix, but I mean, Coyotes they're not a good spot, and they're going to be playing in front of 4,000 fans next year. So Good job.
Well, that's if they sell out
job.
that building.
It's
If they sell out
yeah.
that
I think it's gonna be interesting to watch. They have to. I think being in that arena for that is an experience worth paying for. To be at an NHL game with that,
It's gonna
few
it's
people in
gonna
the
feel
building.
like it's gonna feel like if you go to like a spring training baseball game.
Yeah.
Like it's
but it will actually matter though.
right.
The,
right.
the
Well, maybe not because it's the Coyotes, but theoretically matter.
The cynic in me, the guy that loves chaos, wants one of those. What is it? 2 years they're going to be there. 3 years.
I think 3 years.
I want the Coyotes in one of those 3 seasons to go on some magical run from the 8th seed and somehow make the Stanley Cup final. So the NHL has to have their championship series in front of 3,700 fans in a college arena. That would be just the perfect justice.
Be fantastic.
And again, no offense to our Phoenix crew, but I mean, this is a team that just. It's a nightmare, and the league is insisting it's gonna work.
Yeah.
When it's
Oh my
not.
God.
I don't think
Just
there's
take
been
the L.
there can't be a team that has lost the league more money since its inception than the Coyotes. There can't be.
Just give it up.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You got a team playing in a 4,000 seat arena. You lost. You bet wrong. It happens. There were some other things you did that did work. Congratulations. This one did not.
Right.
Let's move on. Let's get a team in Quebec or
right.
wherever.
Houston. Bring back the arrows.
Someone that's going to support
Yeah,
a team.
we have a lot of people in the chat suggesting Houston.
Absolutely, Houston. They're fourth largest city in the country. They've got a hockey history down there. They've got an arena they can go right into. Bring back the arrows.
Yeah. Hey, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download that PointsBet app and use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all the great web content we talked about earlier, and you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. Questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up is available now in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. So before we wrap up the show here, just sort of recapping the week, the Hawks go 2-0-1 on their West Coast trip. We've seen some very encouraging things from especially Taylor Radish, but Boris Kachuk has had some good moments as well. So the first, the first signs of that trade seem positive so far. I know Hagel had a goal for Tampa the other night. Don't know if he scored today.
Probably not.
In the game against Detroit.
Bum.
I love that Greg is just turned on Brandon Hagel.
I'm not turned on him. I just have a deep love for Radish and Boris.
Yeah. The only Radish I will ever love.
This is true. Because the real ones are awful.
Yeah, I think those are two guys that we talked about what the Blackhawks roster might turn into in the through the rest of this season and into next season. I think those are two guys that could probably play a game that sets a bit of a different tone than we've seen in the last few years for the Blackhawks. So we'll see what Kyle Davidson has up his sleeve going into the offseason and into the draft and into free agency. It's going to be really interesting to see who, like we spoke a little bit about this at lunch today. It'd be really interesting to see who he targets and what his plan is for the offseason for
and the
July,
draft too. What kind of
July
player does he
13th.
want?
Yeah.
What kind of skill sets is he looking for? Should be an interesting week. They're home on Monday night, the Blackhawks against Buffalo, a winnable game.
Yep.
And then, end of the week, Thursday, Friday, back-to-back, at the Panthers, at the Lightning. Will it be the Taylor Radish revenge game or the Brandon Hagel revenge game? We'll see. It should be interesting.
The game against the Panthers will have a lot of potential revenge with Anthony Duclair and Gustav Forsling and Lucas Carlson.
It is going to be the Henrik Borgstrom revenge game.
Hey, there you go.
Maybe we could
That's
call
true.
up Brent Conley for a game, too, and make it interesting.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
There you go. The man who contributes little, but
That
is very
will
helpful in Rockford.
Yes.
That will also be Jonathan Toews' 1,000th game
Yes, it will.
in his career. Of course, all of them coming with the Blackhawks, so that'll be a fun one.
I think we need to make a promise to our audience that on Thursday for Jonathan Toews' 1,000th game, it will be a Jonathan Toews love fest.
We will not be critical.
No negativity. We will not be criticizing any
No
any
negativity?
comments to the media. We will not point out that once again, the center square on the Blackhawks bingo card, Jonathan Toews pointing to the refs with his palms up, was checked off. We will not acknowledge that on Thursday.
Yes.
But hey, seriously, all jokes aside, a huge milestone coming for one of the most important players in not only Blackhawks history, but Chicago sports history. So we will give him his proper kudos then. And he was our 4th star today.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
See, it's coming up all Taves.
Yeah, well, I want to thank everybody, especially Mario and Greg, for a great first week here at CHGO Blackhawks. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody's patience as I figured things out with Odyssey. And when I say figure things out, I mean give my 2 weeks. We are presented, the CHGO Blackhawks podcast is presented by PointsBet. Remember, use promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. We want to thank Natalie and Steven, our producers today, for their great work. We will talk to you on Monday after Hawks Sabres on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.